Welcome to Live Life Better, Derbyshire's Healthier Pregnancy Programme. Today's session is managing food intake. So this session is going to be led by me. I'm going to guide you through it all, and I'm Katie. So grab a pen, a paper, a drink if you need it, and somewhere comfortable. You can sit with minimal distractions if possible. So today's session overview, we're going to look at healthy weight gain in pregnancy, we're going to look at portion sizes, and then lead on to managing hunger, so looking at meal times and hunger scale. So introduction to food intake in pregnancy. So throughout pregnancy, your food preferences and tastes may change, they may evolve. So considering how often, how much and when you eat can help manage your energy levels, energy consumption and hunger overall. This will help ensure a healthy weight gain during pregnancy. So what is daily food intake? What do we mean by managing food intake? So this means the amount and types of food consumed over a day. This can include all meals and any snacks in between those meals, as well as drinks. So fluids consumed throughout the day may also have an energy value, which needs to be considered when we're thinking about what food we're consuming. So the amount of energy is measured in calories, so that's how we measure the energy we consume. So the nutritional value of foods eaten each day can be one way to measure our food intake, whether we're getting a range of nutrients in. We can also consider how often we eat and how much is eaten each time and portion sizes. We can also consider if we've got a balance of the food groups within the meals we eat and the snacks we're eating. And during pregnancy, it's worth noting that your daily food intake should meet energy and nutrient needs. So that will then support a healthy weight gain. First, we're going to look at healthy weight gain in pregnancy. So healthy weight gain in pregnancy. So during pregnancy, weight can increase by 10 to 12 kilograms, and this usually comes from a mixture of sources. So the baby's weight, depending on the stage of development that the baby is at, it can be a significant portion of the weight gain, especially in the later months. The placenta and amniotic fluid. So the placenta nourishes the baby and is an organ the female body develops in the early stages of becoming pregnant, which then nourishes the baby. That can be up to 1 kilogram, and the amniotic fluid can be 1 to 1.5 kilograms as well. So there's also increase in blood volume, which your blood volume can expand about 30 to 50%, and this is to supply oxygen and nutrients to the baby. It can add up to 2 kilograms. The uterus and breast tissue. The uterus grows as the baby grows to accommodate the size of the baby to keep it safe, and then the breasts enlarge in preparation for breastfeeding. So that can have an impact on the weight increase in pregnancy. And also fat stores and fluid retention develop. So the body stores extra fat for the final stages of pregnancy and to prepare for lactation after the labour or after the delivery of the baby. That can be up like 2 to 4 kilograms. And fluid retention. Your hormonal changes cause the body to retain more water, again, especially in the later stages. So yeah, this is an accumulation of where all the weight comes from that we can gain during pregnancy. So there is often a common misconception that you can eat for two during pregnancy. That is not the case. You do not need to eat for two. The advice is to carry on and eat as a normal amount for an adult woman. But in the last 3 months of pregnancy, you might need to adjust your calorie intake slightly by 200 calories. And that's just to meet the demands of the last part of pregnancy and then get your body prepared for childbirth. This video might be worth looking at to understand what an increase of 200 calories looks like in reality. So you can scan the QR code using your camera on your phone, and that will take you to the link to that video from Tommy's. It is really important that we aren't trying to lose weight while pregnant. The main priority is that you take on enough energy and enough nutrients during pregnancy. So if we are aiming to lose weight during this time, it might not be healthy for you or your baby. So please don't try and lose weight during this time. So now we're going to move on to portion sizes. So thinking about the portions, the sizes of the portions that we eat can support us to manage the weight we increase during pregnancy. So this image has been developed by the British Nutrition Foundation, and it goes through each of the food groups and explains how many portions each day are required for a balanced diet and to get all the nutrients we need in. You might notice that it is the plate bit, the circle bit, looks quite similar to the Eat Well guide, so it is based on that. So it is recommended to have 5 portions of fruit and vegetables, 3 to 4 portions of starchy foods. So starchy carbohydrates can look like whole grains, wholemeal bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, things like that, cereals, which will keep you full and give you the energy required. And 2 to 3 portions of protein and 2 to 3 portions of dairy or dairy alternatives. A small amount of unsaturated oils and spreads from sources such as olives, olive oil, sunflower oil, or your vegetable spreads. So now we've looked at how many portions we need of each food group. We need to think about how big each portion should be, because that's just not unlimited and just have it regularly. So thinking about what the right size portion is for you. So your hands can be a very useful tool and can be used as a guide to roughly work out the right size portion for each food group. So we'll work through the examples shown here. So we've got carbohydrates being your the outer edge of the palm of your hand, and meat and beans being the kind of smaller circle, the inside circle of your palm. Fish or chicken is the whole flat of the hand, about that size, is 1 portion, as shown here. We've got like the end of the finger being an example for butter, that is 1 portion. Fruit being the cupped circle of your hand, and vegetables being 2 cupped hands, and cheese being 2 fingers is a portion. So there are a few examples and give you the general idea of how it works. It kind of covers most of the food groups there. If you want any more information or further understanding of that, this information was from the British Heart Foundation. They've got a lovely section on their website on food portions, so go and have a little look at that. Another tool you might find useful is the food portion calculator, which you can access here. Again, scan it on your camera on your phone, and that will take you to the link to the food portion calculator. This is a new tool that I discovered, someone shared with me, and it's really useful. You can pop in how many people you're cooking for, what you're cooking, and it will generate a number of grams you need of that food source or whatever it is, that ingredient, to have a balance kind of portion of that thing. So give it a try. I found it quite interesting and useful. So here we've collated the tips that we have for serving the right portion for you. So it's getting the right size for you that can help you achieve a balanced meal. Hopefully then you'll be satisfied from the food you eat, get the nutrients you need and the energy you need to power your day and get you through to the next meal. So one tool or useful approach, sometimes people like to use smaller plates at meal times. This is useful if it's easy to overfill your plate, and we feel like if we've got a big diameter or circumference, we've got to fill it. So maybe trading your plates for a better sized one or a smaller sized one for you. Use your hands to gauge what size portions to have, so give that a go. Understand how many portions per day of each food group is recommended, which we have gone over on here, but maybe make a note of that somewhere and maybe do a food diary and see if that's featuring effectively. Having more food you're having more from certain food groups than others, might be worth having a browse. Plan what to do with the food that's left over. So if you know a recipe is going to make more than you need, plan ahead what you will do with that. You're going to freeze it, you're going to portion it up, save it in the fridge for another day, go and give it to a neighbour, I don't know. But have a think if you are overcooking, which I do it intentionally because it's useful. I save it for another day. But unless I portion it out once it's cooked, it can easily be used. I can overeat it or put the extra on when I don't really need to, just because it's there. So plan what to do with your leftover food. And then lastly, try the portion sizes calculator. See if that's any use for you at all. Now we're going to lead into managing hunger. We eat for many reasons. Physical hunger is one of them, and emotional hunger is another. So here in the next few slides, we're going to look at the differences between physical and emotional hunger. So here we've outlined emotional hunger. It can start suddenly, comes from nowhere, triggered often by stress or a difficult emotion, a feeling that we feel uncomfortable with, a situation that leads to thinking you need some food or a certain snack to kind of change your state. It will often be a craving for a specific food or a type of food, so often sugary snacks or fatty snacks. Just something we find comfort in. Often is related to eating fast and less mindfully. It's not a considered kind of action as such. It's often eager. Can lead to triggering further feelings of guilt, regret, or shame, depending on what what you ate and how much you ate of it and things like that. And you will eat sometimes in this state regardless of when you last ate or despite being full. So you won't have those physical cues for hunger. You're not eating because you are starting to have tummy rumblings and things like that. It's just because you want to eat something for some reason. So yeah, that is emotional hunger and that drive to eat emotionally. And then we have physical hunger, which can build gradually. Feeling hungry, like there's a growling in your tummy, it's rumbling, or it's starting to feel a little bit painful in your stomach area. You find the balanced options and meals appealing. You're not just wanting one food type or source. You can get a balance of nutrients and vitamins on board more easily. It decreases once you start to eat, so it's satisfied. As you start to eat, the hunger subsides and is pacified. And you're generally eating more mindfully, have an awareness of when you're starting to feel full or getting to the point where your body's had enough, your stomach's got full. It can take 20 minutes for this message to go from your stomach to your brain, so it's worth giving yourself, once you've finished your plate or feeling like you're getting to the point of having enough, to stop and then see how you feel in 20 minutes. If you're satisfied, don't need any more, then we're happy. So, I do think it's worth noting here that we can or have been, our lifestyles mean we can sometimes ignore the physical hunger cues, whether we are busy, whether we're tired, whether there is the food we think we should be eating unavailable in the scenario we're in. Many reasons might come into play here, meaning that we ignore the cues of hunger, the cues to go and seek food when they do occur. And when this does happen, when we do kind of get to a food source, again, we can be over hungry. Then we can overeat and swing quickly from famine mode to feast mode. And it can happen like this as well when we're not getting regular or consistent or reliable food intake. So it's worth looking at how we can get a reliable food intake, and that kind of comes from managing our meal times. Before we look at meal times and our habits around that, I'm just going to introduce the hunger and fullness scale. And this is a tool you can have and use. I'd encourage you to use it to monitor how hungry and full you are throughout the day, and to gauge whether you are ready for more food or fuel, getting more energy on board, or whether we're full and need to stop eating. So the hunger scale here goes from 1, which is extremely hungry, like beyond hunger, to 10, which is extremely full, like on the verge of throwing up probably. So the aim with this scale is to keep between number 3 and number 8 at all times, so we're not getting over full and we're not getting over hungry. This will help, especially in pregnancy, to maintain energy levels and to manage appetite. So it means that once we're starting to notice those signs, those cues for hunger, we're seeing right, it's okay to start seeking that out, or finding where the next meal is going to come from, or what our next snack is when we feel like we actually want to consume something. And that leads us into looking at meal times. So we've all got many habits, behaviours around meal time. So it is worth maybe being aware of what we eat, when we eat, how we eat it, and whether that's helpful or unhelpful towards feeling satisfied from our food throughout our day. So during pregnancy and throughout pregnancy, how much and how often you eat might change. That might alter, and especially early stages, we might not be fancying the same things at the same time, with nausea and vomiting and morning sickness. And then that evolves into later stages of pregnancy, when there's not as much space in there. We might not feel like we want to eat as much. So it's leaning in and just honouring where you are in your pregnancy, so you can try to make sure you are sustained with energy and fuel to function and to support the development of your baby. As well, focus on eating regularly. So focus on that regular eating rather than the quantity you eat each time. If you can't eat much at each meal, try and just get that in as and when needed. So here it says every 3 to 4 hours can help to manage the nausea and fatigue, so we're not getting again too hungry, which can make us feel a bit like lethargic or sick or low in energy. To try to make sure there's a range of food groups at each meal time and snack time. So whenever we're eating, can we be eating from one of the food groups, which might be a bit of a shift in what you would normally reach for, especially at snack time or when you're just having something little in between meals. Yeah, it's just changing our habits maybe around that and what we would normally go for. Try and start your day with a breakfast. I know that's not always easy, but just as soon as you feel like you can eat something, do, and then try and keep the regular meal times throughout the day. Again, if you're eating smaller amounts, please include more regular, like mini meals, to keep you going. Avoid skipping meals as much as possible. So if there are any long gaps in your day, think about how you can approach that to manage it. Do you need to take a sandwich with you when you're out and about, or prepare something in the morning, or to make sure that you've got something there to keep you going through the day, so you're not crashing then in the evening, or overeating in the evening, which might have a knock-on effect to sleep patterns and things like that. And just an extra little tip here, if you're feeling nauseous, try ginger, lemon, or a protein-based snack. Just something to try. So yes, it might be worth just having a reflect on your mealtime patterns of behaviours that creep in. Are you skipping any meals? Is there any times of day you don't feel like you're getting a consistent amount of energy on board? And what could you do to adjust that a little bit? So we're trying to get an even space of energy consumed throughout the day to keep us functioning, and to keep us healthy and our babies healthy. So there are a couple of resources we've created to support with the Healthier Pregnancy programme. One of them is the meal planner, which could be useful, especially if getting your meals in consistently is something you struggle with. So you can use the meal planner in any way you like. But it might be good to see if you can get that consistency up, and you can plan for a day or the week or a couple of days or whatever. Or even say if it's lunchtime that you are struggling with, it might be that you'd want to plan your lunches for a few days of the week, to make sure you've at least decided what you're going to eat, and then you can just refer to this, make it. The other resource for this session is the food diary, which links also to the hunger scale, which we've covered in this session. It might be useful, so you can track your food intakes, your mood, and your hunger throughout a day or a couple of days. It isn't designed to do forever, a food diary necessarily. It's more just to raise awareness over a day or 2 days, to inquire what you're eating, why you're eating it, how much you're eating it. Are you feeling hungry? Are you letting yourself get too hungry or too full? Yeah, just to raise that awareness of your habits around food and meal times. So if you want either of these, your advisor can send them over to you. So just let them know you want them. If you're watching this, hopefully you've already got access to them. If not, do get in touch. So here's a little overview of managing your hunger in pregnancy. Now we've covered that. So it is normal during pregnancy for appetite to increase and to feel hungry more often. You may also have phases of it decreasing and you're not feeling like it. So, knowing what food groups to eat in those times is really useful. As pregnancy progresses, you might not be able to eat as much per meal. Again, really normal. Just turn to small meals regularly. So eating regularly and eating nourishing snacks in between where needed is ideal. Plan meals to try and include fibre, protein and healthy fats where possible. That will help fill us up, give us the energy we need, and also get the vitamins and minerals to the baby for their development. Try and have a healthy breakfast to start your day. Eat every 3 to 4 hours during waking time. Try and listen to your body for its hunger cues. So we've acknowledged what a few of them are in this session today. It might be worth starting to raise awareness of what that looks like or feels like for you, and then stop acting on it. So if you are starting to feel hungry, reach for something, let yourself be refueled, be nourished. It's a big part of looking after ourselves and will keep us healthy, will give us energy that we need. And try and stay hydrated. We don't want to get dehydrated during pregnancy. So yeah, keep the fluids, the hydrating fluids in regularly. Keep drinking water or squash, things like that. So we have come to the end of the session today. So I'd love you to think about what thing or tool or habit changing thing you are going to take away from this session and implement into your life at the minute. So it could be one of these things. What could you start to notice? What could you change up or give a try? Or what could be something that you continue to do or try and maintain? So have a think about that now. If you want to pause it here and just reflect on the bits of this session you found useful, and if there was any of those useful bits you would like to actually try or implement or look into further, then yeah, give yourself a moment to explore that. If you have any questions at all on this session, note them down and ask your advisor next time you're speaking with them, or you can bring them to the coffee and chat group session. It'd be lovely to chat about the sessions, and if there's any kind of further details or information you need off the back of our conversations or the sessions you've watched, then that'd be a lovely place to discuss that further. Thank you very much for getting to the end of this session today. Hope you have taken something useful from what we've talked about today, and you can implement that into your pregnancy. If you need any more information from any of the topics we've discussed, or the links we've kind of directed you to, then please do reach out. And yeah, there's a few ideas for extra kind of things you might want to look at on here as well. Thank you very much. Bye.